then it all goes. What?
We arrived. We have reached the fateful moment. So we go to the end of the road where we all expected the game to finish and be like, oh, now you're gonna go into the open world for the next one. But no. What is the name of the chapter?
The Precipice of Fate is what it's called?
No,
Destiny's Crossroads?
Yes, Destiny's Crossroads. So I think we have to go full into like speculations on what's happening here right now. So you encounter Sephiroth, and he opened this portal to like a different Midgar, like empty Midgar. The whispers are all around like Midgar too, like they involve Midgar, and you have to like very epic fights. You have to fight Destiny, or like how are they called, these three guys? The
Harbingers of Fate, or the Arbiters of Fate?
Yeah, the Arbiters of Fate, and like you have to fight the huge guy also, like it looks very like for me when I saw this guy, I was like, this is Kingdom Hearts. It looks like very Kingdom Heartish. And then
the first boss,
you finally fight Sephiroth. I want to say this is the first time Aerith actually meets Sephiroth well, apart from when she's killed in the original.
Yep.
But it's the first time that she gets to actually talk to him and like confront him. And I don't know, there are so many things I want to comment on. Like Aerith tells Sephiroth like, you are wrong. Like it seems like they all both know what's happening, and then Aerith is telling like, you are wrong, this is not gonna work. We don't actually know what this portal is. Like you have to fight this apparently fate thing. And also at the end, Sephiroth talks to Cloud like one-to-one, like kind of say like, join me 7 seconds till the end. There is a lot of cryptic things happening here, so I want to know your opinions on all of them. I want also Aerith, like you go into the portal, but you don't go into the portal that Sephiroth creates. I don't know what is the meaning of this, but I haven't seen any podcast or anyone speaking about this, but Aerith changes the portal, and it must be a meaning for that, because Sephiroth invites them into the portal, but then Aerith touches it, and it becomes more colorful, like more white, not only black, and then they go into that portal. So I don't know what's the meaning of that, but I'm very curious if that has any meaning at all, or like it must have, because they add it on purpose. That so go on.
So maybe we can like bit by bit, because it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, sorry, I got very excited.
Sorry, go on.
I would say like pre the fight though, if I'm not mistaken, this is, as a person who played the original, very clueless about Crisis Core, Digital Cerberus, Advent Children, all that kind of junk, right? I think this is the first time you see Zack as well.
Junk?
Before you...
Wow.
Junk?
I'm sorry. I think like before you enter the portal, you actually get a whole, that classic moment where he's about to fight all the Shinra grunts, right? Like you see that as well. And again, as a person who kind of knows who he is, but didn't really at this point, I was like, all right, the game's like off the rails as well. So I did want to throw that out there, that they really tease this last section is like, everything just goes off.
I think what it is what they're trying to do. It's very clear to me. I've got my mind made up about it. Like, it's fairly clear to me that what they intend to do with the Final Fantasy VII Remake is to incorporate everything, is to, you know, and it's sad to say this, and I don't know whether some people believe or want to believe this, but this is the final way that they close the chapter on Final Fantasy VII, right? It's done. We're going to give you the story that we've created, and we're going to give it all to you, right? And it's not like, we're not going to tell you a remake of Dirge of Cerberus or a remake of Crisis Core. We're going to tell you the whole freaking story right here. And I think that was a statement that they were making when they showed Zack.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of symbolism. I think we learn here, like, finally, we defeat the Whispers. We kill the Whispers. And we've been seeing through the game that the Whispers are, like, either fans of the original, that they want the remake.
Yep. That's the answer.
Yeah, I mean, it's this, I think it's everything. It's the meaning, like, the symbolism. Like, they are the fans, like, hardcore fans that want a remake. They want to keep everything online. It's also it's also like destiny. We could say like from here, like you could see as Sephiroth inviting you to kill. Sephiroth for some reason maybe cannot kill these guys, and he invites you to kill them. So he has a blank slate to actually go into like a new story. So has a new chance to win. Sephiroth either or Genova or whatever. From now anything goes, and I think it goes back to Barret being killed. I think now it's telling you if Barret is killed in the next game, he's gonna be dead. I think that's the whole thing about the Whisper, you defeating the Whisper, and also it puts you in you did it. You, the player, defeated them, so they try to get you on board with the creators for the next game, I think.
Dude.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting thing, because also couldn't the Whispers also be like, okay, there's a lot of talk of like live stream, and I know they haven't gone into the live stream. Are the Whispers the Ancients?
I don't know. I'm in the opinion that they are linked to Project S and Project G, which is from Crisis Core. And Hojo mentioned that in the previous chapter as well, that he actually wanted to, make babies from Aerith and something from Project S or Project G, which is basically Project Sephiroth and Project Genesis. Mm-hmm. So Genesis is one of Sephiroth's friends in Crisis Core. It's Sephiroth, Genesis, and Angeal. They were
Jillian.
all...
I think Project G is Jillian. Project Jillian, no?
Oh, Jillian? Oh, the mother?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Project Jillian, but I could be wrong.
No idea.
Whatever it is.
Keep going.
Those three, it was like bros. They were like bros in Crisis Core. They were all first class soldiers, and it's also linked to how Zack got promoted, because they had a falling out of some sorts with basically they were like the first, or maybe the bigger projects of getting the Genova cells into them. I think it was first Genesis, it's either Genesis or Angeal. They were already born and then they got injected with Genova cells. But Sephiroth was Project S, and Genesis and Angeal were Project G. Basically, just sum it up. And they had a falling out, so they supposedly died, Angeal and Genesis, and that's why Zack was promoted to second class and then subsequently first class, because they had no more first class soldiers basically. And then it came out to the Nibelheim incident, where Zack and Cloud basically got captured and they were like kept in Shinra Mansion for about 4 years, being experimented as well, and that's how Cloud started to get the Mako. For Zack, he is already a soldier; he's used to it. Cloud wasn't used to it, so that's why he got Mako poisoning, and he was just like a shell of a human being at that point. So that's why Zack had to like carry him, bring him back to Midgar, because Zack wanted to go back to Midgar to see Aerith. That was their promise. And if I'm not mistaken, it was taking place in the same year where Zack was traveling back to Midgar and the events of Final Fantasy VII. It was the same year, just about a month or 2 months, maybe 3 months apart, something like that. So I kind of see what they're trying to do with Zack in the remake, that he was there. They're showing him, it could be something from the past, because it was actually panned from Aerith. After that scene, they panned it back to Aerith, so it could have been like Aerith somehow, she saw what happened in the past, or maybe something like that. But then I'm also confused, like why can he see the Whispers all around Midgar as well? That was not that clear to me. But yeah, basically that was his scene in Crisis Core. He had to fight a whole lot of Shinra troopers, and because there's so many, and he was tired. He just got out of being an experiment for 4 years, and he was traveling from Nibelheim all the way here to Midgar. So he was tired. He had to fight all those people, and basically he gave in. It was just too much for him, and he passes away. But in this one, it doesn't happen. He somehow makes it out alive, and he's still like carrying Cloud back to Midgar. So for me, the timeline is a bit sketchy. I have no idea how they're making it, but I don't know. That's why I'm thinking, like, how is this gonna be? Because it was supposed to be 3 months before.
I think the one thing that we have to keep in mind, and I didn't right away, was that, like, remember the first game? They try to throw you off of what's really happening, right? Like these memories that Cloud has and what you're being told he is not true. So why do we believe that these, like, I don't believe that Zack is still alive. I don't believe that these scenes that we're seeing are true. Right? Like, of Zack not dying and then carrying Cloud in. These are just the old tricks that they use, which is exciting because I don't know. I can't prove that. I can't prove that they're not trying to alter these timelines a little bit. But, like, this is what this game is famous for.
Yeah, I don't know. I think well, we moved on from what the whispers are to like Zack being alive a little bit.
Oh, so
Karian brought all the lore.
Yeah.
Now I don't need to play Crisis Core anymore. Thank you, Karian.
Yeah.
But I think Zack might be alive. I think it would be such a, like, it's too big for a thing, and then like just say like, we were kidding, but not alive in a sense, like, I don't know, like, he's gonna be very meaningful for the story, because obviously it wouldn't make much sense, because you need Zack to die for Cloud to get the sword, go into Midgar and do whatever he does. So that's one of the big questions for me. I don't know what they are gonna do with Zack. I think we are gonna play as Zack in the next game, probably at the beginning. Is gonna be the way.
Oh my god, they're gonna do a Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah, they're gonna do Kingdom Hearts 2. I think
just
so.
play as Zack for the first like 4 hours of the game.
Because you are gonna get to like, I think it would be like you are supposed to be level 40 or something, and then in the next game you're gonna be level 0. So what if the remake is showing you Nibelheim from Zack's perspective, and then you are playing like in the beginning as Nibelheim? It's basically what you go through Cloud's memories in the original. But in the remake, you're gonna do it with Zack, and you play as Zack.
I've never thought of that.
Or maybe you play as Cloud. I don't know. But I'm just thinking it would be nice to play as Zack, because they introduce Zack, and like it would be like kind of you play as Zack, and then it makes you more confused because you play as Zack, but you know that this happened apparently to Cloud. So for the people who are playing, the new players, they're gonna be like confused as fuck, like kind of like who is this guy? I don't know, it might happen. It's just one of the theories, like, I don't know. Because they introduce him at the end of the game, so I think they will use it somehow. Maybe as a memory, or maybe as something else, I don't know. I think he needs to be dead, though. He needs to be dead for the game story to make sense.
But then also there's the thing with the stamp, the dog is of a different breed that Arif pointed out the first time. I didn't notice it. Either they're trying to throw us off, like it could just be Stamp is of this breed for Avalanche, but Stamp could be another breed for maybe another branch of Avalanche.
Yeah, it looks like it's a different universe, or like parallel, like reality to the one we are in, and somehow they are connected because Aerith feels Zack when they walk across each other.
I mean, here's my thing, and I think like this is kind of my broad vision of what Final Fantasy VII Remake is, and why these things both matter and they don't matter at the same time. Where here's where I am with Final Fantasy VII. There's so much junk in this universe, right? And to Cranberry's point, it could be interpreted as Remake is really consolidating every single piece of lore that's out there, and making sure it's all concise and making one final definitive statement of what Final Fantasy VII is, right? That's I vibe with you a little bit there, Cran, but this is where I was when I finished the game. It's that I don't think it's that, to be honest with you. it's gonna be adding more of this is its own thing completely. So here I want to come back to this point, but let me just share this with you guys. So a lot of people are saying that, okay, in the next game we have to go to the Golden Saucer, we have to go to see Barrett's backstory, we have to go through the little like Phoenix egg section outside of Midgar, all that kind of stuff,
Condor,
right?
Yeah.
Yes, please. Yes.
For Condor.
Mini game
So-
in Condor. Yes.
Yeah, place all the little, but here's my thing. I think like when I'm thinking about this a lot is that they don't have to do that, and because all that stuff is in the original 7. The point of this game to me is that everything is gone off the rails in the way where they're going to tell this story from the perspective of everybody is confused about all these different aspects of 7. And the reason why I think like the stamp is symbolic here excuse me, is that they're showing you, like what August said, is parallel realities, right? And even Sephiroth says a lot. I think what comes next has yet to exist. So that line towards the end of this game is telling me that the sequel to Final Fantasy VII Remake is, I mean, a lot of people have said this, it's a remake because it's a new story, right? So everything, my theory is that everything we see in the next game is going to be almost completely new. And even if they make a third game, I think that third game is going to be absolutely new. Like nobody's going to see anything that's come before. But here's my thing with like Zach is like, yeah, I think what's happening here, and this is why I want to throw it back to you guys. I think what's happening here is that they're showing that there's different realities that exist, but Sephiroth is trying to converge them into one that he enjoys the most, right? Or the one that he wants to push forward with. So I think Zack could be alive, but he's going to be warped into this new timeline, or other like past historical characters will be brought from that parallel reality to this reality, or whatever this new timeline is, right? Because my question to you guys is, did Midgar explode or did it teleport? Like, what is up with this
It's
little
there at the end, right? When they're walking away, it's there.
But what is this like veil around it, both in Zack's flashback
Is the
and
whispers.
in correct? But those are because in Zack's world, he's with Cloud and he sees all the whispers around Midgar, right? And Midgar kind of appears there. But then in our perspective, when we finish the game, that same like occurrence is happening, right? So I guess like my question is like, what? I guess like when I first finished the game, my theory is that they ported Midgar from whatever reality that was in to a new timeline of realities, right? And so that's why you can see like you can see where Zack is alive in this universe or not. So that's kind of like my smorgasbord of what I think Final Fantasy VII Remake is and where they're gonna go, and why I think like past events don't ultimately matter, because it's an absolutely new timeline going forward.
I agree with some of those things. Like, I think they might go to different places from the original. I think still we are gonna have to go through the events of the original closely in most of the things. Like, we are gonna go to the Gold Saucer. I think we are gonna visit many of the places. Maybe we are gonna have this breathing mini game where we have to save Priscilla's life to get into the dolphin, to get on top of the dolphin and jump. I think we are gonna go through like main events, but I think little by little things are gonna change. And I think one thing I like about this game that probably I hope they explore more is like Sephiroth was playing with Cloud in the original. Like he was like playing with his mind. Yeah, kind of like, and he gets to almost kill Aerith. He gets him to give him the black materia, so he's toying with Cloud. And I think he's doing it again in a whole, with many more layers. Things that pinpoint of that, like Cloud is grabbing his arm when Sephiroth, is meeting with Sephiroth. He's grabbing his arm, and that happens only in Advent Children. Like he has this kind of disease and his arm is painful, so he does that in this game, and obviously it's not a coincidence. This happened. Also, Sephiroth is dropping wings. The only time you see Sephiroth with the black wing is in the Advent Children time. It doesn't happen in the original. What else? Oh yeah, you fight these 3 guys. Like those guys, people say they represent Barret, Tifa, and Cloud because they have like a the abilities, but I think they represent the Advent Children, like these kind of guys in Advent Children, like the three guys that are trying to make Genova and Sephiroth back to life. So I think there are like it's a huge connection with Advent Children, and that Sephiroth somehow found a way to like come back here or something. I don't know how it's gonna be. I hope it's not cheap. And it doesn't look like tacky at the end. Like if they bring Zack is gonna appear in our dimension and he's gonna help. I don't know. It's like something like that. I don't know if I like it, the idea, but I feel like Sephiroth is playing with Cloud in a whole new level, and I like that a lot. I think I heard somewhere, but I love the idea. They are gonna go to the Gold Saucer, and Jessie is gonna be the main actress in the Gold Saucer, and maybe only Cloud is gonna see that, and then he's gonna be like, what? And then he's gonna talk to other people, and they're going, it's not possible. Maybe people are gonna start doubting him, like, what is he talking about? Or I don't know, like these little things are gonna change, and you're gonna go to the goals because it would be a huge payoff. Like she was saying, like I want to be this actress. We know she's dead, but now you go to the goals and she's alive. So like kind of these realities are merging into one. But I think still we are gonna visit the same places. We visit in the original, and things are gonna be very close to the original, just like changing little by little. And maybe the last game is like just like.
Yeah, I think it has to, because the reason that they're remaking the game is for people like us who are diehards of this game. And it's not to say that we're not open to changes, but if I don't go to Rocket Town and see the scene with Sid talking about that and learn about the relationship of Shira and him, and like if I don't see these pivotal moments in this game, then it has nothing to do with the game anymore, and it's not a remake, it's a sequel or it's a reimagining. But they wouldn't do that, man. They wouldn't do that. I have a lot more faith in Square Enix than to say that they're just going to abandon some of these things. I think they're going to make changes where they need to make changes. I think Agus is right. Psychological. They're going to add more psychological nonsense because they have to fool us, right? And I keep going back to that. They have to fool us. They have to make us sad when Aerith dies again. They have to make us feel like, what is going on? They have to make us feel that way again, or else they haven't done the job of remaking this game that did that to us the first time. But I don't think they're gonna... I can't see it being a whole new story. Even though I can't write it off yet because of what Sephiroth says.
It's gonna be a whole new story apparently, because but the ending is gonna be radically different apparently, because the character says when they have these visions of Red 13 watching Midgar, that's the ending of the original game, and then Red 13 says like, this is the bad ending. This is what happens if we fail today. So the ending at least apparently is gonna be different.
Yeah, but I guess I just mean going down into the northern crater, finding Sephiroth there. You think that's going to be different?
No, I think we will do that. Yeah.
Of course, that's what I mean. I have no problem with like situations being different or whatever, but I don't think they're going to really mess. Like if I don't go to the Icicle Inn, if I don't get to go to all of these places and do that, then they've failed. They have absolutely failed, because that's what we want to see.
Snowboard minigame.
Exactly. We want to see these things brought to life again, right?
Yeah. Does anyone not think Aerith is gonna survive? Or...
No.
Yeah, I do think that the Whispers are the what was their names? Lost Ryu and some from Advent Children. That was like the first thing that I thought when I saw them, the three of them, right? The Whispers. I feel like this is a continuation. This is after 7. I don't think that somehow is starting back from OG the first time it came up. I think OG happened, and then not too sure about the timeline. Maybe Advent Children happened first. I'm not sure about that. Could be because of the wings, and some other stuff that I feel like makes sense. But I think that remake is something that happens after the original. This comes back to how the original was played, the first scene with Aerith. Her expressions in the original were just opening her eyes, and then some people go into like how the music sounds, and I don't really think about that too deeply, but I feel like how Aerith appears in the game, in the first game, and then in this remake, how she's a bit more it seems like she was a bit maybe either confused or frightened when that scene played out. It feels to me, I could be bullshitting, but it feels like she realizes, it's either she realizes that whatever happened in the original is not the best ending and she wants to change it, or there are two Aeriths. One is the Aerith of the remake who doesn't know anything, and then there's another Aerith that is somehow trying to connect with her, telling her this is what you do or this is what you don't do. Why Sephiroth is bad. That's my take. And could it diverge from the original after this, the next game? I think it could. I think it should. But I do agree with Kran. They have to go to Icicle Village. They have to go to the Northern Crater. They have to do all pivotal things that happen in the original to make people like us happy. If not, they would have failed as a game, as a series as a whole.
But I think that's why I'm so fascinated by this, and that's why I really want to get your thoughts here. Because as somebody who has no attachment there, I get that you guys want that. My bold take here is that Nomura is too sick of the Final Fantasy formula, and because he's been like scarred by what happened with Square trying to push down his idea for 15, right? Oh, sorry, versus 13. He wants to do his own kind of thing. And so my take is that they actually like screw the fans, screw the purists, right? Screw all these ideas that would have been the beats of the second game. Like, here's a completely new take on this story and its future. So I think that's why it's like every time I hear, I guess, like, you guys wanting a lot of the old stuff, I really don't. Like, I really hope they don't go through the same beats. I don't mind going to the same places, and I think like it's really important for the story. But I think that's the take that I got after finishing Remake, where we shouldn't go back there, and like that's the whole. If you want that, you go back and play the original. So I think like that's kind of
Just
where, as in
97 vision.
Yeah, like as somebody who, again, like I don't want to play the original, I don't want to play Crisis Core, I don't want to play like all these other, I don't want to play Dirge of Cerberus, I don't want to watch Advent Children. Like, I want this game to be a new form, because all that exists, right? Like, I want this to be a new form and a new step that combines all of it together, and in a way that's like everything has happened before. Now with all that added context, what can happen now with all that added context? So I guess like that's my take on this as a new person to this universe. I guess I see a lot of hand gestures.
I'm waiting for it.
I have something to say to that. Now, I have a couple of arguments that to say like this is gonna be very similar to the original. I think it's gonna be both. It's gonna be something new and something very similar to the original because they did it in this game. What makes me hope, what gives me hope, is how well done this game is, and I don't believe Nomura doesn't care about the hardcore fans, because this game was so good for the hardcore fans. Like, we had it all. We had all that we wanted. I believe, at least me. I think there are. If we want the story to make sense, you have to. For me, there are clearly two Sephiroths here, the Blackwing Sephiroth from the future or whatever, a different dimension, and there is a Sephiroth in this world that is the original Sephiroth, and he wants the same thing the original Sephiroth wanted, and that makes me feel like we have to go through the same events, because he needs the black materia, he needs the things to happen pretty similar to what the original was for him to be released, and I'm assuming this Blackwing Sephiroth wants that too. At some point, he just wants to change the ending. I'm assuming to change how things turn out for him. For me, I think Aerith won't die in the same moment that she dies in the original. I think they are gonna do it. I don't know what they are gonna do, but they are gonna make it suffer. They're gonna make us suffer for Aerith's death again.
Yeah.
And to do that,
Somehow or another.
yeah,
She
to do
has
that,
to die.
She has to die
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure because she needs to cast Holy from the planets.
The heavens or wherever.
Yeah, but I think they're gonna make us suffer because we don't know when it's gonna come.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna come at different points. So that's my opinion. That's what I hope.
If August shared what he hoped, what does everybody hope the second game does, or where do you want to see it go, and where do you want to see the story go? Because my answer to that is, I agree. I think I want something completely fresh and new, and I'm very radical on this. I guess like on this panel of people to want that, but mostly because of like where I am with 7. But yeah, I think like a lot of things for me, it's like I really hope Aerith doesn't die. I don't think that needs to happen.
Really?
I don't think that needs to be delivered. And
My question is, what's the point? What's the point of this remake? It's not a remake. It's something new, and that's not what most people who are huge fans of the game want, right? And like, okay, I can actually feel my blood pressure rising. Like I'm starting to get like slightly upset about it. Like seriously, that would be the last straw with Nomura for me. Like if you don't do this right, like first of all, you can never get anything made anyway because you're crazy. But like if you don't get this right, then that's it. Like get out of here. But this has to be a retelling. It can include other things, but it has to be a retelling because if this is some attempt at making some like Final Fantasy VII cinematic universe, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in any of that. That story exists, and the only reason this game should be out is to retell it in the way that they couldn't tell it. They weren't able to technically tell it like that way, and that's my opinion. And like I said, like I felt my blood pressure rising when I was saying that. Because if it's not that, then I'm absolutely not interested in it, and I'm not giving them another $1. Not even close.
So some people say the remake is a wordplay rather than saying that it's a like the next one won't be part 2, won't be called part 2 or Final Fantasy 2 or something like that, remake 2, but it will be called something like Rebirth. And then the last game will be Reunion. I know you're smiling, August.
I think that Carrion, Aerith might not die, right?
Aerith's dead.
I don't think she has to die. Nor
must
the bold move is that she doesn't die.
What about you, Carrion? You hope she doesn't die, or you think she has to die?
I think I'm with Cran on this. She has to die. In the grand scheme of things, she is not. She's greater than just a person to me. She is the last Cetra. She reaches her full potential being dead, like how you see in Advent Children, right? She can help cure geostigma.
Yeah, no, she has to die. She absolutely has to. I mean, like, that also is so important for motivating the rest of the characters. That loss to Cloud, to Tifa, especially to Cloud, just seems so meaningless at the time, right? And it's this low point in their psyche. It's this incredible low point, like we're losing people we love. This guy is is so powerful, you know, like, and then Cloud loses his mind like shortly thereafter. Like there's a lot of it's a low point, and I think it needs to happen because they rise up from it. Yeah.
Also, there is a very interesting theory that I don't know, Cloud might be the one who kills Aerith. I don't know, like because they play with that in the original too, like he almost killed her. So well, I'm looking forward for all the mindfuck.
It's Genova that kills Aerith, right?
Yeah.
And like Genova, it's entirely reasonable for me to comprehend the idea that like what we didn't understand what Genova was presenting to us in the first game. So if they do this game right, it's going to be the same thing. which is precisely why we're having these conversations, right? We don't understand. They are doing it right.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the same type of thing, but all of this confusion will make sense eventually, though.
Towards the latter end of my thoughts on this series and as a whole and what this future brings up, like kind of my closing thoughts on this is that I think the reason why I'm on the other side of the fence on this is because as a creator, I kind of question the team's motivations to do this game. Yeah, on a surface level, it's a cash grab. If you could, everybody's been asking, right? If you remaster Final Fantasy VII, it's over. Square Enix will make their profit back tenfold, right? And it'll be good, right? But as a creator, I think it harkens back to the new God of War, right? Like, why did Cory Barlog want to tell that story and reboot the series and like tell it in a different context, right? When you could have easily just done a remake or a remaster rather. So I think same thing with like Kitase and Nomura and that team. You don't want to walk through the motions again, and I'm feeling this sense of push where they're trying to unlock a creative sense towards this world that they couldn't before. So the first game is establishing that the reins are let go, and then I'm kind of like trying to figure out now as creatives, where do they want to take this story if they have no bounds? So I think the questions of like, does Aerith die? Who kills Aerith? What happens here? Do we go here? Like, that's kind of insignificant to me. I'm just really excited about where their minds are now, like 20 years after they created this piece of art, right? And what story they're going to tell now. So that's kind of where my take, that's kind of my final thoughts on this series is, because there's not a lot of answers to that. And I don't think there's a lot of point to saying like, is this a continuation or is it not, right? Like, it ultimately doesn't matter.
The only thing I have to say to that is they can shove their creativity up there. You know what? They've got a Final Fantasy VII is on the level of something like Lord of the Rings to people from my generation, from when I grew up, like my age, right? This is the most important video game that came out in the last 30 years to a lot of people. And when Peter Jackson makes his Lord of the Rings movies, you don't rewrite a story. You help enhance it. You help put it into the lexicon or the whatever of people telling that story, right? So now it's very normal for people to think of Aragorn as Viggo Mortensen, right? Like, that's the image they have, but the story remains. What these characters had to do, why they came up, and what they had to do in order to accomplish their goal remains the same. If they don't do that, that is the biggest missed opportunity of the entire that they could possibly do, in my opinion.
Hopefully they come with something like we will content both of you, and then it will be like the best game ever.
Yeah. See you in 5 years. I'll keep my blood boiling here. Yeah.
I can't wait for the next game to come out and just like reference this podcast again.
Oh,
I just can't wait to see what actually is the case, right? After all the
Speaking of, well, I don't know, Karen, you want to add something?
As I said before, I do believe that they will still revisit all these areas. If they diverge, as they have diverged slightly in this, I'm okay with it. But I feel like it's going to go on a bigger scale than it was in this game, because as it's mentioned, the whispers aren't there to help streamline the game as the original. So I think it will diverge on a greater scale. But how? Who knows?
They put my expectations over the roof, like in the clouds, with this game. So now, don't take those from me, because they just did such a great job that I just want more.
I trust them. I have faith.
I trust too.
But we defeated Faith.
I have some small questions for you before we finish, which is, where is the next game gonna finish?
I'm just hoping it opens up more, because this is it's quite linear in a sense. You know, you go from point A to point B.
It cannot open that much.
Go back.
Because
yeah,
the story is... Yeah.
I doubt it. You know, like, I had a friend tell me like, oh, I was really disappointed I didn't get to go to the map, and I kind of had to say like, I hate to break it to you, but I doubt there's going to be a world map. The world map in the old Final Fantasy games that we used to play growing up was there as a placeholder for larger grandiose sort of forests and mountains because they couldn't create those. There wasn't the space for it, and they couldn't really just constantly animate that stuff. You don't really need a world map in this game.
I don't think that will be world map. It's gonna be
I
like
agree.
a Final Fantasy X when you get into the airplane and you choose destination, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I wish there was something like would blow my mind, like when I opened the map first time. But I get
That'd
it,
be
like
sick.
It'd be like the most mind-blowing thing. Like you said, I thought about that same thing, August, where it would be the craziest thing if they could revolutionize this new version of a world map in the video games industry, right? Because it's not that kind of game. I guess like backtracking, I do think it's gonna be 3 games, and the reason why I'm on this, like again, this side of the fence of where I have been over the past like hour is that I think the first game is that walk you through the original. Here's a couple new beats, cool. Then at the end of the first game, it's opening it up to new realities. The second game is going to be half and half, where we walk through the same motions, we get a lot more new angles, and then I think the second game ends of a climatic beat of where Aerith would die, and then the third game is like absolutely new, completely new territory where we don't have to we've gone all the places, majority of the places we need to. And here is kind of just like how we finish off this story. So that's kind of like my rough framework of how they would ease you into this world and finish off this story. I also kind of hope that they have a spin-off like Switch game, another mobile thing, and then like 2 more movies, plus maybe an anime, and then maybe you have to like collect the collector's edition to QR
5
scan.
DLCs.
Leave my game alone. Leave my game alone.
You are upsetting Cranberry so much.
No, he's joking. He's joking.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I really don't like that model. I do think 3 games is a good cap.
I think that they will add on things that happened in Crisis Core, or maybe even before Crisis. That mobile Japanese game that never released will.
Oh my god, is there actually?
Yeah, it's centered around the Turks. I'm hoping it adds on Crisis Core at the very least, if not more. So I feel like it will end before the Temple of the Ancients. Although that would be actually a good cutoff, like kill my girl and be done and make me yearn for more.
My prediction is that the game is gonna end at the Temple of the Ancients or a little bit after. Aerith will be alive in the second game. That's gonna be the twist for them. They will kill them. They will kill her probably in the third. I think it's gonna finish around there.
I like that, and I think that they could do something bold, right? Like literally kill Aerith within the first hour of the third game.
Yeah.
Where you don't see it, right? And then that sets the tone for the third game, right? That way you get to play that whole third game with that feeling of emotion, right? That you didn't and so 2 has the anticipation. You think she might die or whatever, but she doesn't. You get to the Ancients and whatever, and some new shit happens at the Temple of the Ancients, and your mind is getting blown or whatever. And then the game ends, and you still got Aerith, and it's rad, and you love it. And then right at the third game, it's like she's dead.
Yeah,
and that's the whole emotional basis for the rest of the finale.
Also, like to ask you, what are you more hyped, or like what? I don't know, what would you want to see the most? I'm gonna start so you know more or less what I'm asking for. For me, is Yuffie, Vincent, battle gameplay. I can't wait to see those characters in the battle system, and also I can't wait for Gold Saucer and being lost in the Gold Saucer for like 10 hours playing minigames and doing shit. I can't wait for those 2 things to happen.
Bugenhagen. What is he gonna look like?
His legs.
That's gonna be yeah. Is he gonna have legs? Is it gonna be just like a smooth green orb? Because that would be awesome. If it was just a smooth green orb that looked just like the old one, I would sold. Sid was always a huge favorite character of mine. I always kind of liked that that grumpy guy, he's got a cigarette in his mouth. Oh, I got no time for this. I think he's his sort of anti-hero character is really going to add a lot. I'm really excited to have him get thrown into the crew. I'm really excited for that.
I think I would be excited for Sid, and also actually playing Red. My main go-to characters before were Cloud, Sid, and Red. After Aerith passes, so I'm definitely down to see how they work, and hopefully, it is as good as I liked it in the original. Although, yeah, the original was just attack, but then they did well with Tifa, right? So how well can they do with Red and Sid, and maybe even Vincent? And I hope they do this sort of like sneak thing with Yuffie as well, like in the original. Where, of course, she will steal your materia. She will steal your perhaps perhaps both. But how are they gonna play? I think that would be something that be well played off. Hopefully.
Yeah.
That's one of the theories, like because you start the game with a lot of materia, like with all your items. It's like Yuffie appears at the beginning of the second game, she takes everything, and then she loses it, and then you never recover those items anymore, or like you have to collect them again or something. Yeah.
Characters, I think, like most of us, I think there's a lot of beloved characters that even though I'm fairly new to the universe, I'd love to see and experiment with. But to be honest with you, it's gameplay at the end of the day. I love the story, I love the speculation, I love these character development pieces, I love the meta-ness of everything, but this is the most fun Final Fantasy game I've ever played. And if they can find a way to not just refresh the battle system, just add a little bit more, like maybe different elements to materia, how to collect materia, different weapons, and having more, like, rather than just like, oh, this weapon's slightly stronger, like here's actual more value to these weapons. I think finding to make a 9 out of 10 battle system a 10 out of 10 battle system would be amazing for me, because I think we've divulged enough of the expectations of this story. And then the music, just more, give me more of that sweet music. I'll be happy.
I don't know if you want to add anything else, because we've been here like 3 hours and a half.
4 hours getting close to you.
I love the perspectives that we brought, and I think especially towards the end, it's like it really contextualizes our relationship with this game. And I think it's really interesting to see like how, I'm curious how Square tackles all these opinions, and I'm like just so flipping it. Like there's a reason why I came back to this podcast like months after playing 7, right, and 7 Remake. Like I can't flipping wait for the next game. So,
yeah, I can't wait.
Excited to touch base after.
A lot of opinions they can listen to, but there's only one right one, and I hope they listen to mine. So.
Okay, Nomura, I know you are taking notes here.
Yeah.
I think they'll do well.
I hope
they did amazing, so
they did.
I have no reason to believe they won't do amazing.
So, guys, where can people find you? Like, if they agree with your opinion, they can just go to your channel and tell you how fantastic and a wonderful person you are. Or if they disagree, they can just go and say like, I hate you. But by all means, just go and talk to them. Where they can find you, Arif?
Twitch.tv/RFJohan, and Twitter, RFJohan on there as well. Yeah, so we play a lot of games. I'm currently playing through Final Fantasy X right now, and I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. But most importantly, I think most importantly, like on my channel and my community, we're all about celebrating Southeast Asian games. So we play a lot of Southeast Asian games coming as a person who comes from Malaysia. So a lot of JRPGs, that kind of stuff, but also some interesting new art for you guys.
Carrion?
You can find me at twitch.tv/aguskunJP because I'm always.
She's my boss. She's my boss.
Yeah.
Twitch.tv/Carrion. I just finished Final Fantasy 7 Remake hard mode. I'm done with that stream for now. 10 hours was really long. I'm kind of like.
What are you gonna stream next?
Yeah, I'm gonna stream. I'm gonna finish off Witcher 3.
You can find me at twitch.tv/cranberrypudding. I kind of go half and half between like role-playing games and I do like a lot of RPGs, and sometimes I do a lot of like just chatting philosophy. I really like to get into discussions with people about hot topics. I like to get the blood boiling, and I like to get people feeling a little uneasy because that's when the real people come out. So, yeah, you come talk philosophy or just watch some Final Fantasy gameplay.
In my channel, you can find like me like being very, my self confidence can be super high, or I can be second guessing myself and very low. So you never know exactly what's gonna happen there. But I'm gonna leave all our things down in the description, so just go and check, open, like the video, do all those things people do in YouTube, no? Like subscribe, I don't know.
I believe they are supposed to smash that like button. Is that what people do?
I can do it like Carrion and Cranberry, you have to do it because you're on the bottom of the screen. If I say smash this, I'm smashing...
Smash!
Yeah, I'm smashing Carrion from here.
Yeah, like a double.
Yeah. Exactly.
But thank you so much, guys. Like, it's been lovely. Thank you for the patience. This has been long, but I enjoyed it a lot. So thank you so much.
That was awesome. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Yeah.
The recording.
Bye.
Yeah.
Please end the video there.